Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Milidam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadanti Supadandikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shivishakam Vidam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabano Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhesha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Budre Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamini Dhanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prajarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaurava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Om Tat Sat, Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, text 31. Yada bhuta prithak bhavam ekastham anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadhyate tada. Okay, Mayuri Mataji Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yada bhuta prathak bhavam ekastham anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadhyate tada.
Translation. When a sensible man ceases to see the different identity due to the different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception.
So when a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. So we know that there are different aspects of realization. There are different aspects of realization. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Okay, so who can reach the Brahman conception? When a sensible man ceases to see different identities. So, one second. So, what Krishna says is that we should not differentiate based on bodies. Body is temporary. It comes and goes according to our karma and desires. Okay. So based on bodies, we should not differentiate. We should see the spirit within. You know, today I have this human body. Tomorrow I may have a different bodies like demigods or animals or trees and plants. That's why a person who ceases to see different identities, that he is a human being, he is a dog, he is an elephant, or he is a demigod, or he is a bird. Only such a person attains Brahman conception. So in other words, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmine Gavi Hastini Sunichaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshana. One should rise to the platform of Pandita, who sees with equal vision all living entities. We should see that he is the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, whether he be in the body of a human being or demigod or animal or aquatics or whatever. He is a Pandita. So as we explained to Sachi Mataji, even though they're all equal spiritually, but we should know how to discriminate whom to associate with. We cannot freely mingle with all living entities. That we should be able to discriminate. But at the same time, we should not have any envy towards any other living beings, because as Krishna rightly says, Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. My part and parcel, all the living entities. Okay, so that we should keep in mind, and we should not differentiate based on bodies. That is what Lord Krishna says. So that person attains Brahman conception. That is one of the aspects of the realization. Brahman, Paramatma, then Bhagwan. So the complete realization is Bhagwan realization. Okay, Bhagwan realization consists of realization of Paramatma and Brahman also. So here, the person who sees to see the different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere. Okay, the living entities are not only in this material world, in this particular universe, in other planets and universes also. There are three different types of living entities. One that lives on the land, one that lives in the water, and others live in the sky. Okay, in that also there are chara achar, moving and non-moving also. So it is expanded. All living beings are expanded everywhere. Sarvagata. Lord Krishna says Sarvagata. It's not that only on earth it is there. In other planets also there. In other universes are also there. But unfortunately, we may not be able to see the higher beings because, we have limitations with our senses. We cannot see each and everything. We cannot see small insects, amoeba, bacteria. We cannot see. Can we see? So it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So we may not have the chakshu to see them, but they are there. We may not be able to see other living beings on other planets because they are there. Because Krishna says they are there. So we have to, we have to believe that, because who is telling? Supreme Personality of Godhead is telling. Okay, so it is confirmed by all the saintly personalities also, whatever Lord Krishna says. So let's see what is there in the purport. When one can see that the various bodies of living entities arise due to the different desires of the individual soul and do not actually belong to the soul itself, one actually sees. So as explained, we all get different bodies. Even within the human beings, there are 400,000 species of human lives. Okay, Jalaja Nava Lakshani, Stavara Lakshamim Chadi, Krimya Rudra Sankhyakhya, Pakshinam Dasalakshanam, then Trimsal Vimsadi Pashavaha Chadur Lakshani Manava. Even within the human species, there are 400,000 species of human beings, which includes the demigods, Kinnaras, Gandharvas, Charanas, everybody. This 400,000. Why this 400,000? It's not the number of living entities. It is according to the different permutation, combination of consciousness of human being. These 400,000, categories of human beings given by the Supreme Lord. So it is different consciousness level that each one of us have. I may not have a same consciousness that our Purushottam Prabhu has had. Okay. He may be in the Sattva-guna, he may be in the Tamo-guna. Somebody may be in Raja-guna, somebody may be in Sattva-guna, and that also is not predominantly maybe, but it is a mixture. Even if you see outside, in the morning time, and after we get up from sleep, we may be exhibiting Sattva-guna. As the day progresses, the guna changes to Raja-guna. And towards the end of the day, when night falls, it becomes Tamo-guna. But one person predominantly may be in Sattva-guna or Raja-guna, Tamo-guna, but he or she exhibits other gunas also. So we are in mixed modes. Okay, we cannot say that I'm 100% Sattva-guna. Yes, we can say predominantly that person is sattvic because he is in Sattva-guna. He exhibits all his activities and his behavior, his manners, his character, predominantly maybe in Sattva-guna or Tamo-guna or Raja-guna. But no one is 100% Sattva-guna, no one is 100% Raja-guna, no one is 100% Tamo-guna. Even a Tamo-guna person will exhibit Sattva-guna or Raja-guna at times. And similarly, even a Sattva-guna person will exhibit Raja-guna and Tamo-guna at times. So we are getting these bodies according to our desires and karma that we carry from time immemorial. Okay, so these impressions are carried. Where do we carry this impression? Where do we carry?
Subconscious mind.
Yeah, in the mind. Suppose I see a photo of Lord Krishna. Okay, immediately a snapshot is taken and that is stored in the mind. Okay. I see an elephant. Immediately a snapshot is taken and stored in the mind. I see a movie. I see a film star. Okay. And that storyline and that character, that film star, everything is stored in my mind. I read a novel. I read a story book. That story, everything is stored in the mind. I go to a liquor shop. I drink. Okay. Immediately that is also stored in mind. So at a later stage, if not in this life, in the next life or lives, when we come across these characters or this storyline, we get attracted. So where it is stored? In the mind. So in the mind, that impression, that samskara is imprinted, and at times when a conducive atmosphere comes, that surfaces. That's why if I have a habit of drinking liquor in this life, when I come in the next life, I will not be having that habit. But the moment I see people who drinks, I get inclined for that because the impression is already there, because what I have seen, what I have done, what I have practiced, that impression is there in the mind. And the moment such conducive atmosphere comes in front of me, I'm inclined towards that. That's why we have to be very careful. This Gigo principle. What is the Gigo principles? Purushottam Prabhu?
Sorry, Prabhuji, I forgot.
You don't know Gigo principle?
No.
Sachi Mataji?
Garbage in, garbage out, Prabhu.
Yeah, good in, good out, garbage in, garbage out. Okay. When you squeeze a mango, what juice comes out? Mango juice. You will not get an orange juice. Right? So if you're putting good information inside us, good will come out. And if you put garbage inside, garbage will come out. So you should be very careful what we see, what we hear, what we read, and what we do. Right? So it all depends. Our input, what is our input? That will be our output. So we should store in our mind good things. We should not see any horror movies. We should not see any cruel movies, so robbery, this and that. That impression will be there. It's in a subtle way, it will affect our consciousness. So that is how we get different bodies, we get different taste. Okay, a person whose mind is filled with impressions of seeing sports and movies, if he's given a book, Bhagavad Gita book, he will not be interested to read. How he'll get interest in reading Bhagavad Gita when his impressions in the mind are full of movies and sports and this and that? At the same time, if you give, some books related to movies or thing, he'll get interest because that is his vasana, that is the samskara that he has brought from time immemorial. That's why we should practice now itself. Associating with devotees, Mahat. Reading scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayanam, associating with devotees, chanting, the holy name of the Lord, visiting dhams, okay, deity worship. We should inculcate these habits, and we should nurture our children and ourselves, and we should nurture also our children, others in this similar line. Then they will also be saved from falling down. So here we find someone a demigod, someone a human being, a dog, a cat, etc. Why? Because of these samskaras that we have been carrying in our mind, subtle mind, from time immemorial. So that's why we have, even though we are all human beings, okay, but Purushottam Prabhu has a particular taste, I have a particular taste, Arun Prabhu has a particular taste, and accordingly he will behave, and I will behave, and you will behave. Why? Because we are all bringing along with us different samskaras, different impressions. So isn't it scientific? Don't you feel that this is scientific? Very scientific, isn't it? So this is material vision, not actual vision. The material differentiation is due to a material conception of life. After the destruction of the material body, the spirit soul is one. So myself minus this body, okay, spirit soul. Okay, Purushottam Prabhu minus his body, the spirit soul, equal. It's no difference at all. That's also Sachidananda, minus also Sachidananda. If take for that matter a dog minus his body, spirit soul, equal. So that is why, Lord Krishna says, Vidya Vinay Sambanne Brahmane Gavi Asini Suni Chaiva Sopakecha Pandita Samradhana. So Pandita sees with equal vision, whether he be a Brahmana or a cow or a dog eater, a dog or lion, whoever it is. So one has to rise to that level. The spirit soul, due to contact with material nature, gets different types of bodies. When one can see this, he attains spiritual vision, thus being freed from differentiations like man, animal, big, low, etc. One becomes purified in his consciousness and able to develop Krishna consciousness in his spiritual identity. How he then sees things will be explained in the next verse. So how beautiful, right? So most of us have a misconception, okay, that he is high, he is slow, he is animal. Yes, they have got different bodies, no doubt. Why? Based on the desire and karma. Okay. But they're all spirit soul. The self is Sachidananda. So this is the real understanding. So any comments or any questions? Sarun Prabhu, you want to share something or?
No Prabhu, Hare Krishna, no Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, yes. Purushottam Prabhu, any comments or anything you want to share?
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, so is it clear? Sachi Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes Prabhu.
So we'll go to the text 32. Anaditvan nirgunayitvat paramatmayam avyaya sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. Sachi Mataji and Prabhu.
अनादित्वान् निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मायम् अव्ययः शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यति.
Hare Krishna Prabhu translation.
Yeah.
Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled.
Haribol. So those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. As you know, discussed and explained in our earlier shlokas, verses, the soul doesn't do anything. The soul is not at all entangled. Okay, very clearly, despite contact with material body, O Arjuna, soul neither does anything nor is entangled. But then why do we feel that, I am the doer? When I say I am the doer, who is actually doing that? Okay, those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is never destroyed, but the body is destroyed, is transcendental, and is not influenced with the three modes of material nature. Okay, it's beyond. But then why we are suffering and why we are enjoying? So what is this all about? How can you explain this? Can anyone explain? If the soul is not entangled, if the soul is not doing anything, then why in the first place it is in this material world? And when I say I am suffering, I am enjoying, I am doing this, then who is that I? I am not telling my hand is enjoying, my head is enjoying. Okay, sometimes you will say my head is aching. Yes. But when I say enjoyment, I am enjoying that. I'm like that. I'm suffering. But some particular problem of sickness comes, my leg is paining, my hand is paining. We all say that. But then who actually suffers? Who actually suffers? I think we have discussed this in the early class, right? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Babuji, I'm just remembering. That soul is not doing anything, but my mind and body
Yeah.
that are suffering, and we are enjoying with the mind. Whatever comes, happiness and sorrow, that comes with the mind only. We by mind we feel happy, and with something we feel good, like, and by the mind we feel the sorrow, like this, Prabhuji.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Lord Krishna says, "O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled." So entanglement comes, only for the mind. Okay. And the mind is the culprit. Mind, that's why, it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind. The suffering, the enjoyment, everything is a state of mind. Now we think that when we get a car, okay, I'll be very happy. When I was a child, when I get a cycle, okay, I was, 10, 12 years old. I think, when I get a cycle, I'll be very happy. Okay. And that cycle gives me very happiness. But when I grow big, when I become 25 or 30 years old, will that same cycle give me happiness? I want a car. Isn't it? And when I get a car at the age of 25, maybe a Toyota, after some time, with that Toyota, I'm not happy because Purushottam Prabhu is having a Rolls Royce. So I want a Rolls Royce to become happy. Right? So the happiness, is it in the thing? If it is in the thing, when I am 10 years old, when I get a cycle, with the same cycle, even I am 80 years old, I should get happiness, but I am not getting happiness. So the happiness now is not on the thing. Isn't it? It's not in the cycle, or nor in the car, nor in the branded car. So happiness and joy or miseries, whatever it is, it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind, isn't it? And is the soul affected? Whether I go by cycle, whether I go by walk, whether I go by Rolls Royce, the soul is not affected. The soul is in no way affected. It's not entangled at all. But because the soul has a misconception, it seems that it is entangled, but it's not entangled. Why the misconception that I am this body? I am so-and-so person. I am Indian. I am white. I am fair. I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am doctor, this, that. So this is the misconception or the designation that is given to the body. So the soul, have a misconception that this body is me. But in fact, it is not so. Okay, that is the misconception. That's why we think that I am suffering, I am enjoying, I am so-and-so. But these are all temporary designations, upadhis. We are beyond these upadhis. We are spirit soul. That's why it said that the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Okay, so a living entity appears to be born because of the birth of the material body. Okay, so what is born and what dies? The body is born and the body dies. But actually, the living entity is eternal. One second there. So, but actually the living entity is eternal. He is not born. And in spite of his being situated in a material body, he is transcendental and eternal. Thus, he cannot be destroyed. By nature, he is full of bliss. He does not engage himself in any material activities. Therefore, the activities performed, duties, conduct with material bodies do not entangle him. Is it clear?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, this happiness and the sorrows, everything on the mind level. But when we go to the dham and we had the prashadam and then feel the bliss inside, that is on the soul level, not on the mind level. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's also, it is the mind only. But that is the reason when we come out of that, we lose us that and we get again entangled. If it is on the soul level, we will never come back from the dham. Of course, slowly it's a practice that slowly and gradually we are, the soul is get nourishment. The soul becomes, happy because it is identifying itself with its own people, with its own place. It is getting the nourishment. Okay, for example, when we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, discussing, it is through the mind only, but still we have this contamination. That's why, the moment the class is over, we are back to square. The soul is definitely getting the nourishment, but it's for time being. And through the medium of the mind only, definitely. That means that for that particular time, this mind becomes spiritual. It wants to enjoy spiritual things. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. Otherwise, we will be utilizing the same time for our material enjoyment, which will put us down to the lower level. Okay, this will, put us for advancement. This will help us to advance spiritually. Reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayanam, visiting holy dham, chanting holy names, deity worship, associating with the devotees. These are all, ladders to go to the top floor. That is the Vaikuntha. So that's why I say we had a spiritual bliss. When I say spiritual bliss.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
That when we born, as you were saying, when we are small, then we are happy with the small cycle also. But when we grown up, we are not happy with the car even. But the soul is same. But why at the different stages of the life, we have a different level of happiness and sorrowness?
So the demands of the mind, the desires of the mind keep changing. Okay, now what is my thinking? After 10 years, it will not be the same thinking. Our demands and desires will keep changing. It's not stable. It's not fixed. So if it was fixed, when I get a cycle, I should be happy even at the age of 80. Or when I get a toy, I should be happy when I am 80. A toy we usually play when we are young, 5 years, 6 years, maximum up to 10 years. So the same toy is given to a person who is 80. Will he be able to play with that toy and be happy? Because the demands of the mind changes. That's why he or she is not happy with the same thing. So the happiness doesn't rely on the things that we possess. The happiness is a mental status. Happiness and sorrow, whatever it is. So it is, and that mind keeps changing. You may like a person now, but after some time, you ask, oh, that person is horrible. I don't like him anymore. Isn't it?
Because we
The
come
same
to
mind-
know the quality of that person.
What is that?
Because we come to know the quality of the person, that's why.
Even he is behaving nicely, but somehow you have some aversion. Even you may have some aversion. I don't like to see that person. I don't know why. He may be a good person, but for me, I want to keep away from that person because of some aversion. It's not the character, it's not some habits that he has. So this mind's desires keeps changing. It's not fixed, it's not same throughout the life. Your likings, for example, when you are small, what you are liking, and when you are at this time, what is your liking, and when you grow older, what you will be liking? It differs. But the soul doesn't change. The soul remains the same. That means the mind keeps changing. Mind accepts, rejects. Accepts certain things, rejects certain things. And it is not constant. It keeps changing. Our likings, dislikes, likes and dislike keeps changing. Okay, you got it, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anything else? Okay. We'll go to the text 33. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyad akasham nopalipyate sarvatravastito dehe tadatmano nopalipyate. Vandana Mataji and Tarani Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yatha sarvagatam sochamyadakasham nopalipyate sarvatravasthito dehe tathatma nopalipyate.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman mission does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Very good example. Okay, the sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. The sky doesn't mix with the clouds, rains, air. No, it doesn't mix. Also, it is there. The rain clouds are there. The air is there. Everything is there in the sky, but it doesn't mix. Similarly, although the spirit soul is situated in the body, it doesn't mix with the body. No, that is similarly the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. The air enters into water, mud, stool, and water. Sorry, whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Okay, the air enters into water, mud, stool, and whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Similarly, the living entity, even though situated in various varieties of bodies, is aloof from them due to its subtle nature. Therefore, it is impossible to see with the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with this body and how he is out of it after the destruction of the body. No one in science can ascertain this. So this is metaphysics. Okay. This is beyond the gross body. The scientist may be able to ascertain certain things. The anatomy of the body, the biochemistry of the body, the physiology of the body, they will be able to study and find out. But beyond the body, the subtle body about mind, intelligence, and false ego, it is not their cup of tea, isn't it? It's not their cup of tea. They will know only maximum the gross body, not beyond that. So that's why here Prabhupada says no one in science can ascertain this. So it's very subtle in nature. The doctors can perfectly study the gross body and can manipulate the way they want. But can they fix any mental disorders? There are many mentally retarded children. Can they fix that? Can they do some surgery and fix the mental disorders? Physically, yes, definitely. Because it is not their jurisdiction. They cannot do that. Okay, give this medicine and he'll behave properly. He'll be okay. Why? So what is the advancement of science? So their limitation is only up to the gross body. They don't even know what is this mind element, where it is located, how it is functioning. They don't know. So what to speak of the subtlest element, that is soul. Okay. The body is the gross, and the subtler than the body is the mind, intelligence, and false ego. And the subtlest is the soul, spirit soul. So they cannot fix any problem that is beyond the body. So similarly, the living entity, even though situated in varieties of bodies, is aloof from them due to its subtle nature. Therefore, it is impossible to see with the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with this body and how he is out of it after the destruction of the body. No one in science can ascertain. Once the life air goes, the soul leaves the body. Can any doctor or scientist bring that soul and give life to the body? Is it possible? It's not possible. First of all, they don't know what is life, the life air. What is the soul? and how it is spreading the consciousness when it is there in the body, and why the consciousness is gone when it quits the body, how it is pervading throughout the body as consciousness, how it is living when the body is dead. They have no idea. They have no idea. If that is the case, if a person, when we say that person dies, okay, through some mechanical means, put some soul or give some life, is it possible? It's not possible. So this is a perfect engineering of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We cannot do anything. It's beyond our control and beyond our capacity to manipulate. Yes, Lord has given us intelligence and we are doing the best. But unfortunately, instead of utilizing in the right way, we are misutilizing it for some bad purpose. There are good purpose also. There are good people, scientists and doctors and all. But most of the, ability is diverted for exploitation. Isn't it? Hare Krishna. So any comments or anybody wants to share? It's very dry philosophy. Because Krishna is teaching Arjuna these philosophies. Sometimes it goes above our head also. How much ever we read, doesn't go in. Another quite. Yes, Sachimadaji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I was contemplating on what you were telling. How much ever you read, it doesn't go in. We understand all this in the class, but after we get up, again we forget all this. We are again in false ego, Prabhu.
But this is fact. People in general, they are least bothered about all this information, and to know this, to contemplate on and assimilate this and live a life accordingly. It's very difficult. Very hardly few will try to understand and lead a life in line with these instructions, understanding this. Okay. We get information from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, Ramayana. Okay, information. Our brain is filled with information, data. It's a data collection center. But where is the transformation taking place? Where is the transformation taking place? When we assimilate, when we contemplate, and when we implement this, then the transformation takes place. If you don't implement this, then it is just a piece of information only. Isn't it? It remains only as information. So it is jnana and vijnana. Jnana is just knowledge. Vijnana is realized knowledge. So we have to implement this. Unless and until we implement these instructions, this knowledge into our practical life, unless it becomes the realized knowledge, is of no use. Of course, there is use. Even we have this theory, if we know the theory or we have this theoretical knowledge, there is use. But the what do you call it? The goal will not be achieved. If you want to really achieve the goal of human life, then we have to realize this. We have to implement this. Then only it is possible. Transformation should take place. Isn't it? Okay, so we'll stop here. Next week it is 34. I think yeah, 34, 35. Yeah, only 2 more. So next week we'll be able to complete this 13th chapter. Okay. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, प्रेम